So what are we talking about? Well, here's the deal. Have you ever heard the country and western proverbs in a song? How can I miss you if you never go away? Think about those words. How can I miss you if you never go away? The song is by Dan Hicks. Thank you. How can I miss you if you never go away? Because you're in my face all the time. Why does that drive us crazy? Well, the reason is because of the created order, the way God designed humans. Now, here's the design of humans. We need connection and togetherness, but we also need separateness from the people that we're connected to. And separateness does not mean you are no longer connected. That is why a 3-year-old can go off and play by themselves and not be going, like a little one less than that would be oftentimes because they can't stand to be away from mama or their caretaker. They got to always be close to them. But gradually that connection gets internalized and they got the good enough mother on the inside, and then they can wander off and they're in the backyard. They still got mama with them, but they're separate. And that happens in a normal, developmental, physical, neurological, psychological, neurobiological way as a human develops. In the beginning, they already have separateness. We already know that. Like they're looking at you and there's an eyebrow relationship, but they really can't stand that much separateness. That's why they cry in the crib. That's why they're always like reaching up, reaching up, reaching up, uppy, uppy, uppy. That's what my daughter used to say. Sometimes wish you could freeze them at a certain age. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Uppy, uppy, uppy. They want to be picked up. They want to be held. Okay. So we're designed as humans. By the way, have you ever noticed a toddler? What do? They run away, right? They walk away. They like their separateness. Really, really important. So guys, it's in the wiring. It's the way God made us to be together and to be apart without losing love. Now, I said I'm going to make half of you very happy today because that's what you've been telling somebody, right? How can I miss you if you never go away? I need my alone time. I need some space. Give me my space. Now, some of you are married and one of you has been saying, I need my space. But the other one has a different, and there's, we used to have instruments. I guess the Fire OB probably is still being used. One of the things it measures was needs for inclusion. Some people have great needs for inclusion. And they always want to be with somebody. Other people, sometimes more introverted, they have more needs to be by themselves. I have 2 daughters. One of them's an introvert, one of them's the extrovert. The introvert, Lucy, she's the musician and the creative, artistic one. About 10 o'clock every night, she would literally chase us out of the kitchen, starting in like junior high school. You guys leave. I need my alone time. You know what her alone time was? She liked to bake at night. One of the ways I got fat, my daughter loves baking. It's so good. And she did it every night for her alone time. You see sometimes people go work in the garage. Other people, they go on their computer. Other people go veg in front of a show. Other people read a book. But they need to unplug. And a lot of times introverts, do that more. They'll recharge kind of that way. But introverts still need connection or they don't thrive. Extroverts need some autonomy as well. So some of you, I said I was going to make some of you very happy because this is what you've been telling somebody that you love, a friend, a spouse, a kid, mommy needs her alone time now. You guys go play in the backyard or whatever. You've been telling somebody that. And on the other hand, and this is where it gets problematic. And I said, I'm going to invite some of you into a growth step. Some of you may have, and I said I was going to overlay another construct here. Some of you may have some attachment issues. Maybe you don't have enough good mommy inside. Maybe you never got that. So it's hard for you to be alone. Maybe you have anxiety that makes it hard for you to be alone. Maybe you've been abandoned a lot. And so you interpret any separateness as abandoning. Now, I'm not judging you here. I'm trying to help you understand why there are issues that any of us might have. On the other side, for example, what issue might that person have? They may have been controlled a lot of times, and sometimes they'll have commitment phobias to need to get off by themselves because it feels like a spider web of control when somebody's in close to them, and they need a false sense of way further away autonomy. You want to be a happily married somebody like that, be bi-coastal, right? It's just all over the map. But here's why I wanted to highlight this. There are some marriages out there, there are some families, and there are some relationships that are in constant battle because one of them is feeling abandoned or one of them's feeling controlled. So you got both sides of the equation. When what would be helpful is if you can each come together and realize it is normal to have both in a relationship. Time together, time apart. Time together, time apart. Now, what you have to negotiate is what kind of the right amount is. People have different needs for this. And we all have our preferences. If you own any of those instruments, for example, like a Myers-Briggs is one that measures this, there's others. I tend to fall kind of almost in the middle, but more on the introversion side. That's why, gosh, an incredible day for me is when I have a white space in my calendar and I'm going to do research, or I'm going to read scientific journals or psychology textbooks, or designing my own content. I'm all by myself, and oh my gosh, it feels like a holiday. But part of why it feels like a holiday is because I like to be alone. I love to be on a golf course by myself. I used to go in the afternoons sometimes. I used to go ride horses by myself for hours in the woods and just absolutely loved it. But part of that also, if I did that all the time, that wouldn't be healthy. Part of that is because, personally, I'm just telling you about me, I score not in the middle, but almost in the middle to a lot of extroversion as well. I really like people. I like interacting with people. I like social gatherings, all of that. Up to a point. And then I got to go hole up somewhere, like my daughter Lucy, who would bake. My other daughter, if she doesn't have a friend around or a friend in the room, she's like, the world's a terrible place. I mean, she needs some people. I remember FOMO, fear of missing out. And some people are like, if something's going on with their friend, they got FOMO. I invented a term, phobia, fear of being included. It's like, give me my alone time. Anyway, here's the bottom line to today, both the science and the scriptures. Let me tell you a little bit more about the scriptures on this. Where do we get this from? Why are we like this? Why do we need togetherness and separateness? Why? Think about this. This universe, humanity, could be, apart from a designer, if you're an atheist, the goo, primordial goo that somehow decided to get alive one day, which is a whole nother problem, but turned into alive and said, I love it. I just laugh out loud, and I read this in scientific journals all the time. Then evolution decided that the greatest need would be met in this way, and the organism evolved to, like, evolution decided, okay, great. So now we're calling God evolution. That's fine. There's a design to all this, right? I mean, how can you say there's not a design? Please, come on. But why this one? Why does every living thing have togetherness and separateness? Why? Well, we're the only faith that can explain that. The only one. One God in three persons. One God with unbroken connectedness in three separate identities and personhoods. God can be on his throne, Jesus doing something else, the Holy Spirit over here doing something else, but they're all one and they're all together. Jesus is on the face of the earth in the upper room. And he prays for the disciples. He says, Father, I pray that they might be one, just like we are one. 12 separate people be connected and be separate. And one of them goes that way and the other one goes that way. That is us, people. And it comes from God's design. And science validates this. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your life. And do you have enough of both? Do you have enough? And in your relationships, might this explain why some of you are squabbling? There's no bad guy. Joey's not abandoning to Mary, or Mary's not abandoning to Joey. But it feels that way when all they're doing is they're needing to be separate. Your kid is not abandoning the family when they want to go skiing with their friends over spring break and not come home. I remember when our daughters would want to do something away instead of come join us on some holidays or whatever. And it's like, you get a tear in your eye, but a clap in your heart. Because that's what we spent 18 years trying to build, somebody that could go off and be independent. And you hate them for it, little stinkers. I wiped your butt, and now you're going off with your friends without any gratitude. Ah! But you know what? We love it too, right? Because that's what we want them to be able to do. So I always say parenting is the only relationship that was designed by God to have a built-in ending. You're supposed to get fired. It's over. Doesn't mean don't have a relationship after that, but the parenting function is gone. Anyway, just thoughts. You need both separateness and togetherness. You know what I mean? Togetherness, you don't have a relationship. You don't have separateness, you're enmeshed. So we got to have both.